Ladies and gentlemen, shut up and work. That's it. That's the whole message. Stop telling people what you're going to do and start showing them. Your words mean nothing without results. Your announcements mean nothing without achievement. Your explanations mean nothing without execution. The world doesn't need to hear about your plans. The world needs to see your performance. Listen to me very carefully. The most powerful statement you can make is the one you never have to say out loud. The most convincing argument you can present is the one backed by undeniable results. The most impressive announcement you can make is the one your success makes for you. Silence speaks through results, and right now, your mouth is writing checks that your work ethic can't cash. You want to know why nobody believes in your dreams? Because you talk too much. You want to know why people doubt your potential? Because you announce too much. You want to know why your credibility is shot? Because you explain too much. You've been running your mouth when you should have been running towards your goals. You've been making noise when you should have been making moves. You've been creating buzz when you should have been creating business. The most dangerous person in any room is the one who's quiet, focused, and working while everyone else is talking. The most feared competitor is the one who's building in silence while their opposition is bragging in public. The most respected individual is the one whose results do all the talking while their mouth stays shut. Stop announcing your plans to people who aren't invested in your success. Stop explaining your vision to people who don't have vision. Stop defending your dreams to people who gave up on their own dreams years ago. Your words are wasted on people who need to see it to believe it. So stop telling them and start showing them. Here's what you need to understand. Every second you spend talking about what you're going to do is a second you're not spending actually doing it. Every minute you waste explaining your strategy is a minute you're not executing that strategy. Every hour you dedicate to announcing your intentions is an hour you're not fulfilling those intentions. Talk is cheap. Words are free. Announcements cost nothing, but results require sacrifice. Results demand discipline. Results necessitate dedication. Results cost you sleep, sweat, tears, time, energy, and everything you've got. So stop giving away free talk and start investing in expensive results. You know what separates the legends from the losers? The champions from the chumps? The successful from the struggling? Silence. The legends work in silence. The champions build in silence. The successful achieve in silence. And when they finally reveal what they've been working on, the world stops and listens because their results are so loud, they don't need to say a word. Yeah. Think about the greatest achievers you know. Think about the people who have really made an impact in this world. Did they announce every step of their journey? Did they explain every detail of their process? Did they defend every decision they made? No. They put their head down, did the work, and let their results speak for themselves. They understood that success is the best response to doubt. Achievement is the perfect answer to criticism. Excellence is the ultimate reply to hate. Your problem is you're seeking validation before you've earned it. You're looking for applause before you've performed. You're expecting recognition before you've produced results. You want people to believe in your potential, but you haven't done anything to demonstrate that potential. You want people to support your dreams, but you haven't shown them you're serious about those dreams. Stop asking people to believe in what you're saying and start making them believe in what you're doing. Stop trying to convince people with your words and start converting them with your work. Stop attempting to win them over with your explanations and start winning them over with your execution. Silence speaks through results. That means every achievement you accomplish is a sentence in your story. Every goal you reach is a paragraph in your biography. Every milestone you hit is a chapter in your legacy. Your results are writing a book that people will want to read, while your words are just noise that people want to ignore. Let me tell you what happens when you move in silence. You eliminate the distractions. You remove the pressure of other people's expectations. You create space for focused execution. You protect your energy from energy vampires. You shield your vision from vision killers. You guard your dreams from dream stealers. Silence creates a protective barrier around your goals that allows them to grow without interference. But when you announce everything, when you explain everything, when you tell everyone what you're doing before you've done it, you invite opinions you don't need, criticism you don't want, doubt you can't afford, and negativity you shouldn't entertain. You open yourself up to people who will try to talk you out of your dreams before you've even started working on them. Your announcement becomes their ammunition. Your explanation becomes their excuse to tear you down. Your transparency becomes their opportunity to inject their limitations into your vision. So keep your mouth shut and your work ethic lewd. Let your results do the talking while your lips stay sealed. Here's the brutal truth. Nobody cares about your plans. Nobody's impressed by your intentions. Nobody's moved by your explanations. People only care about results. They only respect achievement. They only celebrate execution. So stop wasting time trying to make people understand your process and start investing time in perfecting that process. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your journey. You don't owe anyone a breakdown of your strategy. You don't owe anyone a preview of your plans. The only thing you owe the world is your best effort and your best results. Everything else is just noise that distracts you from what really matters, doing the work. Silence speaks through results, but most of you are so addicted to talking that you never get to the results. You're so comfortable with announcing that you never get to the achieving. You're so busy explaining that you never get to the executing. Your mouth has become a substitute for your work. And that's why you're still in the same place you were last year, talking about the same dreams you were talking about 5 years ago. Let me ask you something. What would happen if you took all the energy you spent talking about your goals and redirected it toward working on your goals? What would happen if you took all the time you spent explaining your vision and invested it in executing that vision? What would happen if you took all the effort you put into announcing your plans and channeled it into accomplishing those plans? I'll tell you what would happen. While you would win, you would succeed, you would achieve, you would become everything you've been talking about becoming. Because the energy you waste on words would be converted into the work that creates results. Stop being a talker and become a doer. Stop being an announcer and become an achiever. Stop being an explainer and become an executor. The world has enough people who can talk. What it needs is more people who can deliver. And here's what you need to understand about results. Results don't lie. Results don't exaggerate. Results don't need spin. Results don't require explanation. Results are truth in its purest form. When you have results, you have proof. When you have achievement, you have evidence. When you have success, you have validation that no words could ever provide. Your results will silence your critics better than any argument ever could. Your achievements will answer your doubters more effectively than any explanation ever would. Your success will speak louder than any announcement you could ever make. So stop trying to defend yourself with words and start proving yourself with work. Well, think about it. When someone accomplishes something extraordinary, do they need to explain it? When someone achieves something remarkable, do they need to announce it? When someone creates something exceptional, do they need to defend it? No, the work speaks for itself. The results tell the story. The achievement makes the announcement, but you've got it backwards. You're making announcements before you have achievements. You're telling stories before you have results. You're defending dreams you haven't worked hard enough to accomplish yet. You're putting the cart before the horse, and that's why you're not moving forward. Silence speaks the results, which means you need to reverse the order. Work first, talk later. Achieve first, announce later. Execute first, explain later, produce first, promote later, build first, broadcast later, create first, celebrate later. Let your results earn the right to be talked about. Let your achievements earn the right to be announced. Let your success earn the right to be explained. Don't give away free publicity to dreams that haven't produced results yet. Don't waste promotional energy on projects that haven't proven themselves yet. Don't celebrate victories you haven't won yet. Here's what the greats understand. Premature celebration kills motivation. Premature announcement creates pressure. Premature explanation invites criticism. When you talk about what you're going to do before you do it, you give your brain a false sense of accomplishment. You get the dopamine hit from people's reactions without putting in the work to earn that feeling legitimately. Your brain can't tell the difference between the satisfaction of talking about success and the satisfaction of achieving success. So when you run your mouth about your plans, your brain thinks you've already accomplished something and your motivation drops. You've tricked yourself into feeling successful without doing anything successful. You've conned yourself into feeling accomplished without accomplishing anything. Stop robbing yourself of motivation by talking too much. Stop stealing your own drive by announcing too much. Stop killing your own hunger by explaining too much. Save that energy, protect that motivation, guard that drive, channel it all into the work. Silence speaks the results, and right now your silence is saying nothing because you don't have results. Your quietness means nothing because you haven't done anything worth talking about. Your lack of announcement means nothing because you haven't achieved anything worth announcing. So let me be clear. I'm not telling you to be quiet forever. I'm not saying never talk about your success. I'm not suggesting you hide your achievements. What I'm saying is earn the right to speak, work for the right to announce, achieve for the right to explain. Let your results create the platform for your words instead of letting your words create empty expectations. When you finally accomplish something significant, when you finally achieve something remarkable, when you finally create something exceptional, then you can talk, then you can announce, then you can explain. And when you do, people will listen because your results have given your words credibility. Your achievements have given your announcements weight. Your success has given your explanations authority. But until then, and shut up and work. Silence your mouth and amplify your effort. Quiet your lips and increase your labor. Mute your explanations and maximize your execution. Let the world wonder what you're doing while you're busy doing it. Let people question where you've been while you've been building something great. The element of surprise is powerful. The shock of unexpected success is memorable. The impact of undeniable results is lasting. When you've been silent and suddenly you emerge with extraordinary achievement, people pay attention. When you've been quiet and suddenly you reveal incredible success, people take notice. When you've been working in the shadows and suddenly you step into the light with remarkable results, people respect you. But when you've been announcing everything along the way, when you've been explaining every step of the process, when you've been talking about your plans constantly, nobody's impressed when you finally achieve them. They've been hearing about it so long that the achievement feels anticlimactic. They've been listening to your promises so much that the delivery feels expected. You've robbed yourself of the impact by over-communicating the process. Silence speaks through results, which means your silence should be deafening when you finally succeed. Your quietness should be roaring when you finally achieve. Your lack of announcement should be screaming when you finally deliver. The contrast between your silent work and your loud results should be so stark that people can't help but pay attention. Let them be shocked by your success. Let them be surprised by your achievement. Let them be stunned by your results. Let your silence during the process make your success during the reveal even more impressive. Let your discretion during the work make your disclosure of the results even more impactful. You know what's powerful? When someone who's been quiet suddenly drops a masterpiece. When someone who's been low-key suddenly reveals major achievement. When someone who's been off the radar suddenly emerges with undeniable success. That's the power of silence speaking through results. But you've got to be willing to be uncomfortable with the silence. You've got to be willing to resist the urge to talk. You've got to be willing to fight against your need for attention. You've got to be willing to delay gratification. You've got to be willing to work without recognition. You've got to be willing to build without applause. You've got to be willing to execute without acknowledgement. Can you do that? Can you work in silence? Can you build without announcing? Can you achieve without explaining? Can you succeed without immediate recognition? Because that's what it takes. That's what separates the legends from everyone else. That's what distinguishes the truly great from the merely good. The truly great don't need constant validation. They don't need regular recognition. They don't need frequent applause. They get their satisfaction from the work itself. They get their validation from their own standards. They get their recognition from their own results. They're internally driven, not externally motivated. But most of you are addicted to external validation. You need people to know what you're doing. You need people to acknowledge your effort. You need people to recognize your work. You're so dependent on other people's reactions that you can't function without them. You become an attention addict who needs constant hits of recognition to keep going. But break that addiction. Free yourself from that dependence. Liberate yourself from that need. Learn to work in silence. Develop the discipline to build without broadcasting. Cultivate the strength to achieve without announcing. Become the type of person who doesn't need to tell people that, yeah, what they're doing because their results will eventually reveal everything. Silence speaks through results, but you gotta have the patience to wait for the results before you speak. You've got to have the discipline to work without talking. You've got to have the confidence to believe in your vision even when nobody else knows about it. You've got to have the faith to keep pushing even when nobody's watching. And let me tell you something. The work you do when nobody's watching determines the success you achieve when everybody's looking. The effort you put in when nobody knows determines the results you produce when everybody sees. The discipline you demonstrate in silence determines the achievement you celebrate in public. So stop performing for an audience that isn't there. Stop working for recognition that you haven't earned. Stop seeking applause for effort that hasn't produced results. Put your head down, close your mouth, and do the work. Let your silence be pregnant with potential. Let your quietness be loaded with promise. Let your discretion be heavy with future success. When you finally emerge from your season of silent work with undeniable results, when you finally reveal what you've been building in the shadows, when you finally show what you've been creating in private, that is when you'll understand the power of letting silence speak through results. That's when you'll realize that all the discipline, all the patience, all the quiet work was worth it. Your results will speak so loudly that you won't need to say much. Your achievements will be so impressive that you won't need to explain much. Your success will be so obvious that you won't need to announce much. The work will have done all the talking for you. And here's the beautiful part. When your results do the talking, they're more convincing than your words ever could be. When your achievements make the announcement, it's more impactful than any speech you could give. When your success tells the story, it's more compelling than any explanation you could provide. Results don't just speak, they shout. They don't just announce, they rally. They don't just explain, they prairie. Results are the ultimate form of communication because they can't be good. They can't be denied, they can't be dismissed. So stop trying to convince people with your words and start overwhelming them with your results. Stop trying to impress people with your explanations and start shocking them with your achievements. Stop trying to win people over with your announcements and start converting them with your success. Silence speaks through results, and it's time for your silence to start speaking. It's time for your quietness to start shouting. It's time for your discretion to start declaring. But that only happens when you have results to show for your silence. So I'm challenging you right now. Shut up! Stop talking about what you're going to do and start doing it. Stop explaining your vision and start executing it. Stop announcing your plans and start accomplishing them. Let your silence be filled with word. Let your quietness be loaded with effort. Let your discretion be heavy with execution. Work like your life depends on it while nobody's watching. Build like your future depends on it while nobody's paying attention. Create like your legacy depends on it while nobody knows. And when you finally have something worth talking about, when you finally have achievement worth announcing, when you finally have success worth explaining, then and only then should you open your mouth. Because when you do speak, when your results finally give you the right to announce, when your achievements finally earn you the platform to explain, people will listen. They'll pay attention. They'll respect you. They'll believe you. Not because of what you're saying, but because of what you've done. Your results will have given your words weight. Your achievements will have given your announcements credibility. Your success will have given your explanations authority. You won't need to convince anyone because your work will have already done the convincing for you. That's the power of silence speaking through results. That's the impact of letting your work do the talking. That's the influence of allowing your achievements to make the announcements. That's the authority of permitting your success to tell the story. So stop running your mouth and start running toward your goals. Stop moving your lips and start moving mountains. Stop making noise and start making history. Let your silence speak through results. The time for talking is over. The time for working is now. The time for announcing is past. The time for achieving is present. So shut up and get to work. Let your silence be filled with effort, your quietness loaded with execution, your discretion heavy with achievement. And when you finally emerge with results so undeniable, achievement so remarkable, success so extraordinary that nobody can ignore them, the hats when dot, your silence will have spoken louder than any words ever could. That's when you'll understand the true power of letting success talk for you. That's when you'll realize that the best announcement is the one your results make for you. Yeah. But let me take you deeper into this philosophy of silence, because there's a level to this that most people never reach. There's a spiritual dimension to working in silence that transforms not just your results, but your entire character. When you commit to letting your work speak for you, when you dedicate yourself to achieving before announcing, when you discipline yourself to execute before explaining, you're not just building success, you're building yourself. Every day you choose silence over announcement is a day you're developing self-control. Yes. Every moment you resist the urge to explain is a moment you're strengthening your discipline. Every time you work without seeking recognition is a time you're forging unshakable character. Silence isn't just a strategy for success, it's a crucible for personal transformation. You want to know who you really are? Work in silence for 6 months and see who emerges. Build without broadcasting for a year and discover your true character. Create without celebrating for a season and witness your own transformation. The person who can work without applause is a person who has conquered their ego. The individual who can achieve without announcements, an individual who has mastered their need for validation. Most people can't do this. Most people are too weak. Most people are too addicted to attention. Most people need constant recognition, like a drug addict needs their next fix. They can't go a day without posting about their progress. They can't go a week without announcing their plans. They can't go a month without explaining their process. They're slaves to external validation, prisoners of other people's opinions, addicts of attention, but not you. You're different. You're cut from a different cloth. You're made of different material. You have the strength to work in silence. You have the discipline to build without broadcasting. You have the character to achieve without announcing. You're not like everyone else who needs constant validation. You validate yourself through your work. And here's what happens when you develop this level of discipline. You become you and stop paybable. When you're no longer dependent on other people's recognition, when you're no longer controlled by the need for attention, when you're no longer motivated by external applause, you become a force of nature that nothing can stop. You become internally driven, in a world full of externally motivated people. While everyone else is waiting for permission, you're creating results. While everyone else is seeking approval, you're achieving goals. While everyone else is looking for validation, you're validating yourself through work. You've broken free from the chains that hold most people back, and that freedom is what allows you to soar while others remain grounded. Let me tell you about the psychology of premature announcement. When you tell people what you're going to do before you do it, you're making a social commitment. And here's the problem. Your brain treats that social commitment as if you've already made progress. Studies show that when you announce your goals publicly, you get a premature sense of accomplishment that actually reduces your likelihood of achieving those goals. You've heard of dopamine, right? That feel-good chemical in your brain. Well, your brain releases dopamine when you accomplish something, but it also releases dopamine when you tell people about what you're going to accomplish. So when you announce your plans, when you explain your vision, when you talk about your goal, your brain gives you a little dopamine hit that makes you feel good, that makes you feel like you've already made progress, that makes you feel like you've already achieved something. And what happens after that dopamine hit? Your motivation drops, your drive decreases, your urgency diminishes. You've tricked your brain into thinking you're further along than you actually are. You've robbed yourself of the hunger that would have driven you to actually do the work. You've stolen your own motivation by talking too much. This is why silence is so powerful. When you keep your plans to yourself, when you work without announcing, when you build without broadcasting, you preserve that hunger. You protect that drive. You maintain that urgency. Your brain doesn't get the false sense of accomplishment from talking about it, so it stays hungry for the real accomplishment that comes from doing it. Silence speaks through results, but silence also creates results. Your discretion isn't just about being strategic with your communication. It's about being strategic with your psychology. You're protecting your mental state. You're preserving your motivation. You're guarding your drive. You're keeping your hunger intact. And let me tell you what else silence does. It eliminates the pressure of other people's expectations. When you announce what you're going to do, you create expectations, and expectations create pressure, and pressure creates stress, and stress kills performance. You've set yourself up to fail before you even started by putting all that pressure on yourself. But when you work in silence, there's no external pressure. Nobody knows what you're doing, so nobody has expectations. Nobody's watching, so there's no performance anxiety. Nobody's waiting for results, so you can focus on the process without worrying about the outcome. You've created a pressure-free environment that allows you to perform at your best. Think about the greatest performances in history. Think about the most remarkable achievements. Think about the most extraordinary breakthroughs. Most of them came from people who were working in relative obscurity. They weren't working under the spotlight. They weren't performing for an audience. They weren't dealing with external pressure. They were in the lab, in the studio, in the workshop, in the gym, working in silence. Michael Jordan didn't announce he was going to be the greatest basketball player of all time before he became it. He just became it. Steve Jobs didn't explain the iPhone to the world before he built it. He built it in secret and then revealed it. Elon Musk doesn't announce every detail of his plans. He works in silence and lets the results make the announcement. The greats understand something that average people don't. The work is sacred. The process is private. The journey is personal. They protect their work from outside interference. They guard their process from external opinions. They keep their journey between them and their goals. They understand that silence isn't just a strategy, it's a sanctuary. Your silence creates a sacred space where you can focus completely on your work without distractions. Your quietness establishes a private laboratory where you can experiment without judgment. Your discretion builds a personal workshop where you can create without criticism. Silence isn't isolation, it's insulation. It insulates you from the noise, the negativity, the doubt, the fear, the criticism that would otherwise infiltrate your mind and sabotage your progress. But here's where most people get it wrong. They think silence means hiding. They think working privately means working secretly. They think discretion means deception. No! Silence isn't about hiding what you're doing. It's about trusting what you're doing. It's not about being secretive. It's about being selective. It's not about deception. It's about discretion. There's a difference. When you're hiding, you're operating from fear. When you're protecting, you're operating from wisdom. When you're being secretive, you're acting suspicious. When you're being selective, you're acting strategic. When you're being deceptive, you're being dishonest. When you're being discreet, you're being disciplined. Silence speaks through results when it comes from a place of strength, not weakness. When it comes from confidence, not insecurity. When it comes from strategy, not fear. Your silence should be a power move, not a hiding place. It should be a strategic choice, not a fearful retreat. It should be a disciplined decision, not an anxious avoidance. And let me tell you what happens when you finally break your silence with resilience. The impact is explosive. Oh! The effect is dramatic. The impression is lasting. When you've been quiet and you suddenly emerge with extraordinary achievement, people don't just notice, they're shocked. When you've been low-key and you suddenly reveal remarkable success, people don't just pay attention, they're stunned. When you've been discreet and you suddenly display undeniable results, people don't just respect you, they're in AWE. The contrast between your silence and your success creates a dramatic effect that multiplies the impact of your achievement. Your discretion makes your revelation more powerful. Your quietness makes your emergence more impressive. Your patience makes your unveil. You've created a story that people will remember and retell because the journey from silence to success is compelling. But you've got to be willing to endure the silence. You've got to be comfortable with being underestimated. You've got to be okay with being overlooked. You've got to be fine with being forgotten. Because while you're being underestimated, you're over-preparing. While you're being overlooked, you're overperforming. While you're being forgotten, you're becoming unforgettable. Let them sleep on you. Let them doubt you. Let them dismiss you. Let them count you out. Let them write you off. Because when you emerge from your season of silent work with results so undeniable that they can't be ignored, when you reveal achievements so remarkable that they can't be dismissed, when you display success so extraordinary that it can't be overlooked, their underestimation will make your vindication even sweeter. There's a unique satisfaction that comes from proving people wrong without saying a word. There's a special joy that comes from succeeding when nobody expected it. There's a particular pleasure that comes from achieving what everyone doubted. And the only way to experience that satisfaction is through silent work, followed by lewd. Lewd. Results. You want revenge on your doubters? Succeed in silence and let the results make the noise. You want to prove your critics wrong? Achieve without announcing and let the achievements speak for themselves. You want to show people they were wrong about you? Work without explaining and let the work tell the story. The best revenge isn't talking back. It's coming back with results so impressive that words become unnecessary. Silence speaks through results, and your results should be so loud that they drown out every doubt, every criticism, every negative thing that was ever said about you. Your achievements should speak so clearly that they answer every question that was ever asked about you. Your success should communicate so effectively that it explains everything that ever needed to be explained about you. But here's the key. You can't have loud results without silent work. You can't have impressive achievements without discreet preparation. You can't have extraordinary success without private execution. The results that speak the loudest come from the work that was done the quietest. The achievements that make the biggest noise come from the effort that was made in the most silence. So stop trying to have it both ways. Stop trying to announce and achieve. Stop trying to explain and execute. Stop trying to broadcast and build. You've got to choose. And if you're smart, you'll choose silence during the work so your results can be lewd when you're done. Every great performance has two parts, the preparation and the presentation, the rehearsal and the show, the practice and the performance. And here's what you need to understand. The preparation should be present. The rehearsal should be silent. The practice should be discreet because the presentation, the show, the performance, the results, those will be public enough. You don't need to broadcast the preparation. You don't need to announce the rehearsal. You don't need to explain the practice. Save all that energy for the presentation. Save all that attention for the show. Save all that communication for the performance. Let your results do all the talking when it's time to reveal what you've been working on. And here's what else you need to know. The quality of your silence determines the quality of your results. The deeper your discretion, the greater your achievement, the more disciplined your quietness, the more impressive your success. Your ability to work in silence is directly proportional to your capacity to achieve in public. Weak people can't work in silence because they need constant validation. Average people can't build in discretion because they need regular recognition. Mediocre people can't achieve without announcing because they need frequent applause. But great people are comfortable in the silence. Great people thrive in the discretion. Great people excel in the quietness because they're internally driven, self-motivated, and self-validated. The question is, what are you? Are you weak or great? Are you average or exceptional? Are you mediocre or outstanding? Your ability to work in silence will answer that question. Your willingness to build without broadcasting will reveal your character. Your capacity to achieve without announcing will demonstrate your strength. So I'm challenging you right now to embrace the silence. I'm daring you to work without talking. I'm calling you to build without broadcasting. I'm asking you to achieve without announcing. I'm demanding that you execute without explaining. Show the world what you're made of by showing them what you can do, not by telling them what you're going to do. Silence speaks through results, and it's time for your silence to start screaming. It's time for your discretion to start roaring. It's time for your quietness to start thundering. But that only happens when you commit to the work, when you dedicate yourself to the execution. When you focus completely on the achievement, stop reading this and start doing. Stop listening to motivation and start creating results. Stop consuming content and start producing outcomes. The time for taking in information is over. The time for putting out achievement is now. Your silence is waiting to speak. Your discretion is ready to declare. Your quietness is prepared to proclaim. But it can only do that through results. So give it something to talk about. Give it something to announce. Give it something to reveal. Create results so impressive that your silence becomes the loudest sound anyone's ever heard. Now go. Stop reading. Stop listening. Stop consuming. Start producing. Start executing. Start achieving. Let your silence speak through results. Let your work do the talking. Let your success make the announcement. Let your achievement tell the story. Hey, the world doesn't need to hear what you're going to do. It needs to see what you've done. So shut your mouth, open your laptop, get to your grind, hit your goals, and let the results speak for you. That's when your silence will speak the loudest. That's when your discretion will have the greatest impact. That's when your work will do all the talking that needs to be done. Go make it happen. Let silence speak through results.